Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey from the Markout Movie Podcast.
Brandon, what are we doing today?
Chilling, having fun, relaxing, reviewing Judgment Night.
Yeah, more specifically, Judgment, right?
I think you spelled it wrong.
Judgment.
Yep, you spelled it wrong. There's no E.
There's no E in Judgment Night?
Nope.
So, let's take
We're
it
off to
down.
a good start.
So, let's fix that.
I mean, Emilio's not going to care.
Is that
There
better?
we go. Cuba Gooding Jr. appreciates this change in direction.
You know what? I made a bad joke while I was watching this movie, and I'm going to get to it. It's probably a terrible joke to make, but I made a bad joke while I was watching the movie. So, but yeah, we're doing Judge Midnight without an E apparently, because your boy can't spell sometimes. But yeah.
So what's your bad joke?
Oh well, I'm gonna get to it, but first,
Okay.
let's see. We're gonna show a quick clip of Judgment Night. Oh, well, I thought we were.
Oh my lord.
Here we go.
Fight fans.
A night out on the town.
Can't hear none of it, can you?
Nobody
Oh, I can.
You can hear this?
is taking
Yes.
guys
Well,
going
okay.
to a boxing match. That's it.
That's interesting.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I know you're friends. They have the hormones of high school kids.
I'll be home early, okay?
Promise?
What do you say, fight fans?
So,
A night out on the town. A heavy traffic jam.
Tell you something, I'm not gonna miss this
wrong
fight.
turn.
And one wrong
And-
turn.
Action
We've circled this block
90.
about 300 times.
Yeah, enough of this scenic route.
That's where we're going to stop it right there. All right. So, just to name a few people that's in this movie, you have, of course, Emilio Estevez, who both Brandon and myself huge fans of. Walsh, what's going on, brothers? Hope all is well with you. Hey, what's up, Walsh? We're doing Judgment Night from 1993. The film starring Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr. What's his? Is that was that
Stephen Dorff,
Stephen Dorff and
Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven, and of course Dennis Leary and Everlast from House of Pain. He's in the movie. Also, the dude that played the villain in The Mask. He's in the movie.
Oh yeah. Also the villain in Pulp Fiction.
Who was he?
He raped Ving Rhames?
Is that the same guy you mean?
Yeah.
The
That's,
Mask guy.
that's
Oh.
the same dude. Something Green. He was also in Blue Streak.
Is he what they call the Gimp? The Gimp? Was he the Gimp or was
Yeah.
somebody else the Gimp?
I think so. I think that's the official title.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. I hadn't seen Pulp Fiction in so long. But yeah, this movie came out in 1993. First of all, the bad joke. Let me go and get to it. That when they was running,
Okay.
and I seen Cuba run it, I literally said, "Run, OJ, run."
Oh my God. What's wrong with you?
Of course, played OJ Simpson, and
Like almost 2 decades later.
yeah.
Gosh.
But this is Cuba Gooding Jr.'s first film post Boys in the Hood. So at that point, Cuba was getting his feet wet and acting, and he wasn't the biggest name in the movie. I would say arguably he becomes the biggest name that was in this movie. But Emilio Estevez is just he's fresh off of Mighty Ducks. I think fresh off of Mighty. No, maybe fresh off of Young Guns, right?
Oh no. Young Guns was 88. This came in 93. This was a year after Mighty Ducks, I do believe.
Okay.
He already done the Young Guns films. Because
Okay.
Young Guns 2, I think, was 1990 or 91.
Okay. So yeah, he let's see. Walsh says, "How you know what when you're not that famous, the villain in that." Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, man. I don't know your name, but I know like I know he's the villain in the mask. Uh, he has a villain face. His face looks like I would be a villain in real life. He has that type of look about him. But he wasn't the main villain. He's the what do you call it? What you call like
I
the
would call him the enforcer of this group.
enforcer? He's like the number two to
Yeah.
Dennis Leary. Uh,
He's Arn Anderson to Ric Flair here.
Breakfast Club. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Emilio's in the Breakfast Club. I forget that he's in the Breakfast
Well,
Club.
how are you forgetting this?
Forget that because like it was like Mike Judd, right? Is his name? Uh, Judd Nelson.
Judd
Uh,
Nelson, yeah. Anthony Michael Hall, Ali Sheedy.
yeah,
The yeah.
So there's so many people in that movie. It's just and I forget that he's the jock. But he's such a great actor and also great director. So, uh, you know, I forget. But Emilio is one of those actors that I when I see him in anything, I kind of get like happy to see him because Emilio Estevez. There was one part in this movie I thought Emilio looked just like his daddy Martin. Like I was like he looks like a spitting image of his dad right now. Like it's when they was on the bus and they're trying to go through take the shortcut or whatever through the
Hmm.
six, and he's like the way he's holding the sides of the bus. I was like he kind of looks like his dad Martin. I would say I like Emilio more than Charlie. So um,
I would like to know who wouldn't like Emilio better than Charlie. Because Charlie is like one dimensional.
maybe Charlie likes Charlie
Which,
more
of
than
course, Charlie does. I mean, he's his biggest fan. I mean, how many people really like Charlie Sheen today, though? I mean, he's irrelevant. I mean, so is Emilio to a point, but
well, no.
Emilio still directs.
Yeah, but with Emilio, like for instance, um, the only reason why I watched the new Mighty Ducks movie is because show was because Emilio's in it. Now that he's not in it,
It's canceled.
I had no reason to watch the second season because Emilio wasn't in it. So
Yeah,
that's it.
it was once he left, it was over.
Now, like if they would have brought Joshua Jackson, is his name? Is that his name?
Joshua Jackson. That's what I
If they,
was.
if they would have brought him back, then I would
They
have.
would have saved the show, in my opinion, if they would have brought or somebody from the original movies to be the new coach. It could have saved some grace. It possibly got Emilio back for
He would
season
have been
3.
perfect coach. He would have been perfect coach because it makes sense storyline because that's what they're setting his character up to be in the movie
Yeah,
is to be the next coach of the Mighty Ducks.
and I
So
don't even think he appeared in the show at
not,
all.
not at all. We had everybody. We had the Bash Brothers. We had like pretty much everybody else for the most part pops up, but no, we never had Joshua. And he wasn't doing it. I can't say that. I know that. Well, for me, I'll say he's not doing anything. You might know more than I am. Like he's
Oh
not
yeah,
working.
he's doing things. He's doing shows.
It's like so yeah, I know he's done a lot. Like he had like a where he's like a serial killing doctor or something.
Yeah, that he's got Fatal Attraction on one of the streaming services. I don't know if it's
So he's staying busy.
yeah.
Okay, that's good. I'm happy to hear that. Honestly,
Yeah,
but
he's we all know where I know him from, but I mean I know him from the Mighty Ducks, but it was Dawson's Creek. He is the most successful actor besides Michelle Williams. But of the guys, he's the most successful.
mhm.
He continues to get work no matter what. And good work from what I'm told. And I see, I mean, I think he got nominated for some kind of award for that Netflix show he did, where he was the lawyer for those kids that got I don't know if they got killed or it was based on a true story. It was like 4 or 5 young black kids.
Uh,
I don't know if they were killed or
You talking about the what is it park, the Central Park?
yeah, something like that. He was the lawyer for them. So
You know,
he's doing good work though. I mean,
I've never seen that. Never seen that. just never seen that is a little docu series,
Yeah,
like, or whatever. I never seen it because that stuff is kind of like I don't like seeing that stuff. It's just hard for me to watch that type of stuff.
yeah.
But but uh, but I heard it was good. I just never had a desire to really watch it. Same with Will Smith's Emancipation. Just I don't care. I don't want to see it. It's not that I don't care. I just don't want to see it. You know.
Chris Rock loves that movie because he gets to see Will Smith get
I
beat.
know. Damn,
That's dark.
you are, yes, no, it's dark for you too, sir. Uh, yeah.
Hey, I didn't say I love it. I said Chris Rock loves it.
So Emilio Estevez is in this movie plus Cuba Gooding Jr. And then we also have Stephen Dorff, who is plays Emilio's younger brother. Stephen Dorff, uh, for me, the best known for two movies, The Gate and Blade. Those are the main two films I think of Stephen Dorff. And every time I see him, I immediately think of him in Blade. But I remember him as a child from The Gate, the little horror film, came
Yeah,
out like in the 80s, which was really good little horror movie. For if you haven't seen it, it's really good.
I've seen it. I've seen. Did they do two of them?
Yeah, I've only seen the first one. I just the
Sequel was really bad. But yeah, I agree with you that for me though, it's Judgment Night. It was my first appearance, first time watching Steven. But then it would probably Blade and that really bad horror movie he did in the early 2000s about the internet killing people. The doctor, I forgot what it's called. Fear.com. Fear.com.
Oh yeah, I forgot that movie. I forgot that it was even the thing.
Yeah.
But Stephen Dorff, you know, it was a very young Stephen Dorff in this film, and Jeremy Piven, who was the friend that was like uber successful. He's very flashy. He's kind of reckless.
Very reckless.
He plays that character real well. Jeremy Piven is also known for Summerfest, so we're not going to let him forget that. Where he called SummerSlam Summerfest. So, uh, but but Jeremy Piven, man, I thought his character was pretty decent. Just watching this movie, especially the beginning when they're getting together, it just was like, man, just like something about that time frame, the '90s. It's just was a special little time frame in cinema to me. Like
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved this. It made me want to watch more '90s stuff that was in the '90s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very nostalgic for the '90s now. I've moved past the '80s because the '90s is where it's at. But yeah,
And then it's gonna be the 2000s.
it is going to be that. I see that happening. But yeah, if you think about like Transformers, the playlist, and it took place in like '99, right? Is it '98, '99?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the playlist is very '90s hip hop. Uh, Something else I was watching that was very '90s as well. I forget what it was, but yeah. Oh, maybe it was that clone Tyrone. It felt different. It felt like a amalgamation of different time frames.
Yeah, that
But
felt like they were in many different eras.
yeah, but nevertheless, they get in this camper and they're ready to go through this boxing match. And the camper is decked out for '90s technology. What did you think about the camper, Brandon?
The camper was impressive. I wanted to be in that camper. I wanted to be going to this boxing fight, man. To hang out with Emilio, Cuba, Jeremy, and Steven. I mean, it would have been awesome. Like four very different, distinctive personalities here, man. You got, as you said, the flashy guy with Ray, who's played by Jeremy Piven. Cuba's kind of the player. I think that stereotyping
I
from Boys in the Hood, though, a little bit.
Well, I think that he was kind of the thing about in Boys in the Hood, he really wasn't the player. He wanted to be the player, but he wasn't. He put off like he's the player, but he really wasn't. I would say that Cuba Gooding Jr. was more of the like he shows that he can handle himself.
Yeah.
But he was kind of like he wanted the old days, like when they was wild and crazy and went out and got
Yeah.
trouble. But whereas you had Emilio's character Frank, who was in a different stage in his life. He has a child. He has a wife. He's trying to get away from being that crazy Frank to being like a respectable husband. He's suburbanite now. He lives in a suburbia, you know. And so I love that. And then you have Jeremy, who is like, he's like, you know, I'm about the money. I'm about fun and good times. But he's not about like where Cuba was more like he runs in head first. Jeremy Piven is the no, let's not take any risk like with that, you know, or some points. You feel that? And then Steven was kind of like the wild younger brother, but you know, but he feels like he doesn't like authority. That's how he
Oh
came
yeah.
up.
Yeah, he doesn't like authority at all. I mean, Ray, I like Ray, but you know he
It
doesn't.
was
He's
too.
all about himself though. When you find that out once they have an accident, all the things he's doing, he doesn't care about the guy they hit. He's getting rid of all the alcohol. He's calling the cop. He's making sure he's got, you know, his phone's working. So they ask about it. He's like, oh, it's dead. Could
Yeah.
have been, the whole situation could have been avoided had he not been thinking just about Ray.
Let's speak about that too. I know that you mark out when you realize that the guy that was shot slash hit was the cop from New York Undercover.
Yeah.
So what did you think about that? Because you just finished that maybe a year
Well,
or
yeah,
earlier.
I finished it like I think this year, like early this year. So as far as this actor goes, I didn't know him from anything except Judgment Night, that little role he had in Judgment Night. But then when I saw he was in New York Undercover, it's like, oh, it's like I don't know what he would be called. I don't know. He robs people or robs places for this
A Stigga,
boss. But
Stigga, Stigga boy.
yeah,
And
but I was like, so I saw this with new eyes. So I was like, oh man, it's the New York Undercover cop. I like him. I was like, then of course he gets hit and he's gonna end up getting killed. And honestly, that scene as a kid scared the life out of me. This was the one because the way they did it, they shot it.
the way that Dennis Leary was kind of silhouetted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get the reaction from the guys in the campers, like this just got real fast. You know, it just always scared me to go in dark alleys and especially little towns I don't know anything about. It's like, and I wouldn't want to be caught in a camper if I had to outrun somebody. So this movie actually scared me as a child, but I thought he was great in this little role. And I was like, man, I wish he would have got more opportunities, you know, in his career. But I think he got this. He got New York Undercover, and I think he did another show for like Showtime. But
I'm gonna also bring this up because I knew him from New York Undercover. I seen Judgment Night before New York Undercover, but I didn't remember that it was the same guy that was when I see New York Undercover. I didn't realize it was the same guy from Judgment Night
yeah,
until like actually last night when I watched this. But I also know the guy from New York Undercover. He was in the Michael Jackson "Beat It" video as one of the backup dancers for like one of the gangs. So if you
really.
watch the video, he's in that video dancing. And so every time I see the video, I can't not see him dancing. I see him every time. So like, go back watch "Beat It." And you'll see him, and you'll be like, and then every time you watch "Beat It," you'll be like, yeah, there he is.
I mean, he does have, at least back then, he did have the body to be a dancer. You know, he looked like he was athletic, and you can tell he's athletic in New York Undercover.
And with New York Undercover, like him and I don't remember the guy's name, but the other guy, his partner,
Yeah,
felt like they were such. That show was so great for me. I thought that they were such great, like a great duo.
they
Them two.
were. They really were.
So whenever I remember him, I think Latino guy dies first.
Yep.
And then
Yeah. End of
I
season
remember,
3.
I remember it. I remember it was like I think I stopped watching. I think I stopped watching the show at that point. I was like, "How you gonna kill him?" And then like I just never really picked back up with it. I used to watch it like every Thursday. I think it came on Thursday nights. Might have been even Sunday, but it came on Fox. I
Yeah.
remember watching the show. But yeah,
It was never the same after that. It was canceled a year
did you
later.
like jump the shark with that? Like
Oh yeah,
who
definitely. It
who
wasn't
who?
just him though. Like their boss. I don't know if she was the captain.
The lady, the
Yeah.
Latino lady.
The white girl.
Oh yeah, yeah,
She
Deborah.
left too. She left right after that season as well. And they
Oh,
didn't
okay.
really explain it. They just kept the Latino girl and his partner, and they put them in another unit. It never felt the same.
Yeah. She also is known from Dexter, by the way. If you ever watch Dexter, she's on that. She's currently still acting. She's the mother. She does the voice of Miles Morales' mother on the new Across Spider-Verse stuff.
Really?
That's her, yeah. She does
Wow.
voice. So she's still working. So I'm happy to hear that and see that. But yeah, uh, but back to Judgment Night. So they witnessed the New York undercover cop dude die, get killed by Dennis Leary. Dennis Leary, this is right fresh off his stand up that he did on like MTV or whatever, and this is kind of leaning into his character. Like the ref came out around this time
Yeah.
or before or after this, uh, and then like the only other time I've seen him act was in Demolition Man. Was it Demolition Man?
Yeah, he was in Demolition Man. Yeah.
Yeah, like, but and he wasn't a villain in that, but from this movie, I always looked at him as a villain because of this movie. Even though he's been in other stuff and he wasn't a villain, he's been good guys. He played like he's a Spider Man. He was like the father
Gwen
of
Stacy's father.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah in the Amazing Spider Man stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But so he's came a long way as acting wise too. He's like
Oh,
really
yeah, oh, no doubt. But
and he's really good in this as well. That's
yeah,
what
when I always think of Dennis Leary, though, I can't help but think of Judgment Night. No, it was probably the first thing I seen him in, and I just thought he was so menacing. But he was so calm about killing people, man.
he's also so likable. He's still
Yeah,
he's likable. Like
yeah, he had really good energy. Like he really did. I mean, he's like, if it wasn't for all the killing, you could be like, oh man, I could hang out with this guy. He's fun. But then he gets a little crazy and he just starts killing people, and it's like,
he said to that one guy, the youth in the projects,
yeah,
he says, take my money. He said I can
I
take
love this one. I love this one.
you can't take my money, but you can take my money. Just like he said, what he's saying is you can't take my money, but I'm going to give you my money. But it's
Yeah.
not that you took it, but you're taking it.
Oh, that's not where I thought you were gonna go with that. Like,
Oh.
your money's got blood on it. He's
Oh.
like, you ever seen any money that didn't have? I love it. I mean, I really love him in this movie, and I feel like he steals the movie away from Emilio.
He really does. Like he's more of a menacing. Like he's more of a like really was a menacing character as far as like
Yes,
you felt the threat. Like watching this movie, I felt the threat, especially when they chased him into the train yard with the homeless people. Uh, and they pretty much like first I was like Emilio, don't give him your whole wallet, bro. I was like it's a bad idea. Immediately I thought, man, they gotta know who you are, your name or something.
I mean, it was a bad idea getting off the freeway.
It's a bad idea to get off the freeway. If you able to stay on the freeway, none of this would ever happen. And as watching the fight, just have some beers and enjoy the traffic jam.
Yeah,
But yeah, man. But I'm not saying anything about drinking and driving. You should not do that. But but that camper was pretty awesome until it wasn't. So and I think I remember as a kid watching this movie and wondering why didn't they just. I kind of wish there's two different movies. I wish there's a movie in which they were trying to survive the whole night on this camper or interacted with this camper as like a main hub. But also, I do enjoy the movie where they're just literally trying to. They're It's pretty much like warriors. They're like away from where they need to be for safety, and they're trying to make it back to where they can be safe. And
Yeah.
they're in unfamiliar territory, and you know, so I really like that aspect of it. But what was your thoughts on before we get more into the movie? What was your thoughts on? Do you know who Everlast is, or Whitey Ford, the a rapper
Monsters?
from House of Pain? Jump
Oh,
around,
no, I do not.
you know that song?
I do not.
So Whitey Ford, uh, he's from let me see. I call him Whitey Ford because it was another name they went by at one point. But I won't be able to hear it, but maybe you can hear it for some reason. Oh no, that's the wrong thing.
It's the wrong thing.
I won't play it all because I just want to show you him. Present. All right, let's see. Share.
It's time to improve your writing
why is this
game
like
with
this?
Grammarly Go. Grammarly
Oh,
Go
I
is
must
an
not be
AI
sounding my
service that
YouTube.
offers.
Let me show you. There he is.
Oh, I know this. Okay. Yeah, I know.
You
Oh,
he's
he's one of the villains.
There he is.
Yeah, okay.
So and he kind of had the same little haircut.
Okay, yeah, I had no idea who it was in the movie. But yeah, okay.
So like, and I didn't realize it in this movie until like last night. I was like, that's it. But when I seen him, I immediately said Whitey Ford, which is wrong. It's Everlast. But you know, he went by Whitey Ford at one point. But I was like, Everlast. I said Whitey Ford. What Whitey Ford? Jump around. But yeah. But yeah. Before moving on, there's a part in this movie where they end up in this project, and wasn't that like? Do you think wasn't that very intense scene of just them trying to go through these apartments, trying to get somebody to open the door for them?
Yeah, I think that's very intense. And no one was going to help them. I mean, no, and not even the woman with the bat wanted to help him. But I really feel like that would be like a real life situation, though.
Mhm.
You know, you got these 4 people that are not from here, and you know, even though I'm not trying to be racist or anything or stereotypical, but Cuban Gooding Jr. in this movie doesn't come off like someone from the projects. To me, he came off more white.
I don't
To
think
me.
he never was thought to be from the projects. What
Well,
makes
I
you think?
understand, but you know, I feel like they kind of felt they would fit in because he was with them. I've always
I,
felt that way,
I thought that they were just trying to survive, and that it's just
but I
like
always thought that people would help because he was with them.
yeah, no, not in the hood. It doesn't matter what man. You know, if a bunch of white folks show up at your house in the project at like late at night, come out, let us use your phone. I'm not opening the door. I'm sorry. If Cuba Gooding Jr. shows up, coming, hey buddy, we're black. Let me use your phone. I'm like, no, man. Now if he says,
But it
hey,
doesn't matter either way. You're not getting in.
he says there's some white people chasing me, help me. Then maybe because then it goes back to the transatlantic, and I feel the need to help them. But yeah, but
So it's
anyway,
going to take some white people chasing people to get
man,
them help.
listen, we learn anything from the Birmingham Brawl, Montgomery Brawl. No, sir. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm not gonna talk about that. But anyway, but back to it. Swinging the cheers, swinging
Swinging
the
the
miss.
chairs.
But get the tables. But let me get back to this. But yeah, the lady. Let me tell you this. Growing up watching this movie, it didn't dawn on me that they were lesbians at all. It wasn't until watching it last night I was like, oh, so they're lesbians. Didn't dawn on me. No idea. Did you?
I have never picked up on that if they were lesbians.
Did you pick up on it last night?
No, I did not.
What do you think? They was roommates?
Sisters, maybe. Helping out with the kid. I mean, I didn't really pick up that they were lesbians. But I just don't pick up. I don't have gaydar or anything. So because I'm not, you know,
All right,
I'm just saying, I didn't pick up on it. I didn't look at it with those eyes.
Yeah.
I just saw two women that live together, and I thought maybe they're sisters, and
they take care of this child.
yeah, but obviously they're lovers taking care of this child. So
Well, that's where I got from it, but maybe I'm wrong. Well, but
I don't know.
let's get past that. So Jeremy Pivens pulls a gun on the lady.
On them. I mean,
On the
and
lady.
Cuba's like, "You had that the whole time.
Yeah. And
You're using it now against us."
and I noticed that Emilio would stand in front of the lady, just kind of make sure that she's not shot. You know, like he's very good at de-escalating it. And so they decide. She finally tells him, run to the roof, and there's a little part so you can get across. So they make it across, except for Jeremy Pivens, and he's like, "I'm going to negotiate with him." I'm like, Jeremy,
It's not the guy to negotiate with.
what do you think this is? Like, it reminds me of another scene in another movie. I can't think of what it is, where somebody was like, I will try to reason with them to save our lives. And then, like, they end up dying. Or maybe it's just this movie I'm thinking about.
Yeah, you can't reason with a cold-blooded killer who's got rules. He's got specific rules he abides by.
Don't steal from me.
Yeah.
There are no witnesses.
Yeah.
Those are his rules.
Those are his rules. And you're a witness.
But he creates more witnesses by running through this project.
I know.
Kicking the doors and opening it. And now you have more witnesses. You got to go back to understand.
Here's one thing I do like about this whole project scene, though. He's like I don't know if he's number 3 guy or the 4th guy, considering. But he's telling number 2 guy, what are we doing? We should just let him go. And he's like, he's got rules.
The long hair guy.
The long haired one, yeah.
Because Whitey Ford, Everlast, was pretty much like just the muscle. He's the muscle guy. He didn't really say anything much. But the guy with the long hair, he was kind of like, he was
using logic.
Yeah. And there's no logic in the Dennis Leary game. No logic whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
But yeah. So Jeremy Pivens, not Jeremy Evans. Jeremy Pivens. Jeremy Evans is a real person. He's a basketball player. But Jeremy Pivens is not. But Jeremy Pivens, Ray was like, "Hey, let's negotiate. Let's talk. I'll give you $200,000 and stuff." And then Larry's like, "You're the type of dude that get on my nerves. I can't stand you. You live in your Ivy League." It's really good little rant.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, he's totally gonna kill you, bro." That's what I was like. He's totally gonna kill you. And then he's like, "For 200,000, all right, we got a deal. And then he says, "I'm gonna make it off this roof in one piece." He says,
"Oh yeah, you're going. You're getting off this roof, all right."
And then he tosses him like it's nothing, but then Cuba comes out and blasts him.
But I love the stare down between Emilio and Dennis Leary, though. That was intense. He's like, "I'm not stopping, man. You're dying tonight," and Emilio's like, "Bring it." It was
Emilio kind of looked like I wish that, and I noticed this later on when we get to, because isn't the next scene the sewer scene where they get down in the sewer and they fight back and was able to take out the number 2, which Dennis Leary was mad about that. Now he has a different reason to kill him. Took out his best friend. But yeah.
And the long haired dude was telling him about it. Said, "Man, we shouldn't even be out here. Now your guys did. Oh, I just let him get away with it, huh? You know what I hate? I hate whiners."
I got a dad joke. They took out the number 2 in the sewer, so he took a number 2. Yeah. I'll be here all week, guys. But
You're terrible.
the number 2 Deuce guy, he dies in duty water. So that's fun. But
Did you like the little rant when he was drowning him? I
yeah,
hate whiners.
yeah,
What
he's
about
like,
this? I just I just
and then
loved
like,
it.
and then like Whitey's like, yeah, he's dead, my man. Like I think he's dead. He ain't getting up. And then he realized he comes back to himself. He's like, okay, well, whatever. He's like nonchalant about I didn't kill this guy. But the last big final fight scene battle happens in an apartment store. And they so excited because they trigger the alarm and going through there yelling, trying to get security to come and show up. And they're like, yes, arrest us. Yes, thank you. Call the police, get them down here. Woo, yes, 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 And at the same time, uh, dude got killed. And then like Dennis Leary gets on the horn and starts taunting. And then there was like good fight scene and battles,
Yeah.
and that leads to the final showdown between Emilio Estevez and Dennis Leary. And I feel like this is what I was gonna say. I feel like this is the old Frank that they were talking about throughout the whole movie. I think we saw the old Frank that didn't take crap, that would bust your head, that would and what was your thoughts of like him becoming that fighter towards the end of the movie?
I think it was nicely built up because Cuba mentioned it so much in that first act. He's like, there was a time your brother would have knocked him on his, he said, what did I tell you about that? He was trying to become the family man, but I really think it was really built up very nicely. And once it happens, it's just on, and you love to see it, to see him become who he used to be. That fire comes back, and I loved it. I loved it. It also kind of reminded me a little bit of Emilio and Young Guns as William H. Bonney, Billy the Kid, like a crazy fun type character because he kind of gets crazy in the end, and I love to see it. And
He's talking his stuff too. He said, "You ain't talking now, are you? I can't hear you."
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that
you're
was
not-
the aspect I meant. Like that reminded me of Billy and Young Guns. I'll make you famous.
Yeah, man. He was like, oh man, he's choking him, and then there's a part when they're fighting still, and they get to what was it? They get to that part where they were like over that scaffolding thing,
Yeah.
uh, and uh, and Dennis Leary's about to fall off. He's like, "Hey, help me out, guy. Help me out here. Help me out." I love him. Just even that. Hey, come on, Frank. Help me out here. Come on, Francis. Help me. Help me out here. And then like he goes to help him, say, you can't help yourself. You just gonna help me, huh? Because you're a good guy. You're a do-gooder. You're a do-gooder. It's still like it. He's like, come on, come with me. Come with me. Like we're gonna both die. And then,
Yeah.
and then he's like, no, you're on your own. He like kicks him. And then like I think he didn't doesn't Dennis die?
Yeah.
Because they would have made like it would have been a jump scare now if they would have made it now. It would have made him pop up like, oh, he's not dead, type of thing. But no, he dies. But then the cops show up, and then like it's the end of the movie. But I was gonna ask you. Let's see, Matthew. Hey, Aaron and Brandon. I'm glad you're enjoying the review and Judgment. I look forward to your review of Big Top Pee Wee. It'll be fun. Yeah.
Aaron's not looking forward to it.
No, I'm be honest, Matt. I was gonna pull an audible on you and go somewhere. I won't do it to you. We'll do Big Top Pee Wee.
Oh man, you're so wrong, Aaron. You're so wrong.
Unless Brandon wants to choose it next time.
No, I'm good. I think I'm gonna go with The Jerk. I saw it was on some streaming service.
But yeah, Big Top Pee Wee. Yeah. All right. So anyway,
Yes, sir.
this movie though, Cuba Gooding Jr. Survives. So does Stephen Dorff. He has a shot in the leg. Cuba has a shot in the like stomach or abdomen.
Yeah.
And Emilio's still standing. He just bruised a bit, but he's still standing. And and they survived Judgment Night. Of course, their friend's dead. The car dealership's gonna wonder what happened to that tricked out minivan, that van. Uh, there's a lot of explaining to do.
A lot, yeah. And I always kind of thought how it ended. They were kind of slightly teasing a sequel because Cuba's said he had tickets to the game in Chicago. And Emilio's like, I'm staying home.
Yeah, like, and then he told his brother, Steven, he's like, hey, Cuba has tickets for this game in Chicago. And he says, no, I'm good. I passed. He says, I'm too old. I'm too young for this.
Yeah.
It was like a play on the I'm too old for this line. But yeah, man, it's just like now he'll say he's too old. Of course, he's probably like in his 50s, 60s, 50s now. I say Steven Dorff.
Yeah, he's up there.
Uh, but but yeah, just I thought this was a fun movie. I thought Cuba was the right over the top. And I thought Emilio was the great anchor. Like it, I don't think this movie would have worked with anyone else in this movie playing the roles that was played. Honestly,
I mean, I can't see like no one's outperforming Dennis Leary in
No.
that particular role. Emilio was fantastic. Cuba was fantastic. Jeremy was great. I really liked Ray. He was just a little selfish when things got real, but he was fun before all that though. I mean, he really was. He had been like a fun guy to hang out with. But I thought Steven was good as the younger brothers. Yeah, I agree with you. But I always have wondered who was this other friend that backed out. And I bet he thanks the world, thanks God that, man, I'm glad I didn't go through this.
yeah, Eddie survived by not being there. But yeah, I thought the same thing, Brandon, last night after watching it. Like at the end of it, I'm like, they closed with him going out the door. It's like it seems like they're introducing Emilio as a character going forward in a series of movies.
Yeah.
Where he's like dealing with certain things, like but as a one and done, it's not a bad movie. I watched it through YouTube. But yeah, it was just a fun movie. It's like one of those popcorn '90s action thrillers. It's truly an action thriller, I would say.
Yeah.
For the best part of that term. What was your most standout person in the movie, and who you think was like needed to be seen a little bit more, like done more?
Standout for me was probably Dennis Leary. He just stole everything he was in. Like this is a performance of his that I remember throughout life. So definitely him. As far as someone that needed more time, probably Steven Dorff, because I think he was the least focused character in the movie. As far as the main four characters of the guys that are running, but I don't know if he could have done much more as a character, because basically he's just a kid brother that is a pain in the rear for everyone else.
I would say that he was underwritten.
Yeah.
Maybe. I would say this also about him, that like that he did have some sort of a character arc in the sense of he talked a big game, like wanting to fight and wanting to pick fights and show up and be that guy. But when Cuba was in trouble in the sewer, he was slow to respond. He froze and panicked.
Yeah.
And Emilio stepped up to be there. But then Cuba was like, "Man, you froze. You could have got me killed. You wasn't there. You didn't help me." And so, but later on in the store, the same thing was happening, and he shows up to kind of help rescue Cuba, get him to safety.
Yeah.
And so I consider that more of a character arc for him. Um, it would probably be more of an arc if he would have maybe took out Everlast or something like that, or somebody. You know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
actually stood up to help, like help, like directly. But yeah, I agree with you. I think he was underdeveloped though.
Yeah, and I think Ray was developed nicely. I think the other three, they were all written well.
Mm.
They all seemed like they were genuinely good friends for like most of their lives, I would say. So I thought they all did great. They had great chemistry together. I like it would have been a really good movie to watch as just a comedy with them three,
Mhm.
actually with no terror. But I really enjoyed it though. I had a good time with this, and man, I just wish Emilio would have gotten more work going forward. He kind of went on a downward spiral, and I don't really know why. I kind of blame Mission Impossible for it because he gets that cameo at the beginning, and he's really not seen from again.
Yeah, like I think he prefers directing. But uh, I
He's
also
good. He is good.
will say to Matthew, what if we did Adventures in Babysitting? I'm just throwing it out there, buddy. What do you think about that? But if
Oh,
not,
Lord.
we will do your Big Top Pee Wee.
Why are you
Uh,
trying to get out of Pee Wee?
never been a big fan of Big Top Pee Wee, man. I just never liked it. But I'll watch it. Maybe it'll grow on me. Maybe I think differently about it. Uh, also, I know I want to try to see a 20 review a 2023 movie within it. Do some more, do more of those. Uh, the streaming maybe. But all right, ready to get your numbers?
Go ahead, sir.
All right, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give this movie 4 markouts out of 5. I thought that it was a really respectable film. I thought. Is that Matthew? Dang,
Yeah.
Matthew. My favorite movie with Emilio Estevez is Mighty Ducks trilogy and the Disney Plus show The Mighty Ducks Game Changers. Also, it'd be neat if you and Brandon could interview a celebrity like Estevez. I would love to. Or Valerie Golino from Big Top Pee Wee. Lastly, here's a Pee Wee related movie you could review Flight of the Navigator, where he voiced Max the robot. I didn't know he voiced the robot, but I would not be watching that movie because I've seen it. I wasn't really blown away by that movie when I was like 5 or 6, 7, maybe. I
I've never
didn't.
seen it.
Or maybe we will eventually.
Oh, Aaron. I ain't watching it again. I've never seen it. Or maybe we will.
I don't know. I don't know. You can choose it sometime in the future. Then I would be watching it. It's how this relationship works, Brandon. You choose something, we watch it. I choose something, we watch it, whether we want to or not. And it's for better or for worse. You like, at least you've seen. I'm gonna get you sucker. You didn't like it, but you've seen it now. You
I
said I've
watched it,
seen
yeah.
it. There you go. I I can't think of something to say to what you wanted me watching. I didn't really care for. What's your marks? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 as well. It was a very entertaining movie about taking a wrong turn, running someone over, and being chased. But I don't know what they are exactly. I want to say they come off more like drug dealers, but I don't know. I don't know if they were actually drug dealers, but people from the wrong neighborhood though, being chased by people that want to kill you.
Yeah,
I thought it was a fun movie though, and I thought most of the people did a really good job for what they were given, and it was a fun ending with Dennis and Emilio's fight. I had a really good time. I've always have though. I've always loved this movie. So 4 out of 5.
that's why I said I mentioned Adventures in Babysitting because it kind of follows the same trope of people somewhere stuck trying to survive, but it's a comedy. It's like this movie, but more comedy
Yeah.
versus uh, you know action thriller what we have here. Um, but yeah, maybe I choose it eventually. But yeah, all right. Next week, Big Top Pee Wee via a review request from Matthew Carter. Big Top Pee Wee in memory of Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman. You could have chose Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, that's his movie. But Big Top Pee Wee.
You know, I always thought that was Nicolas Cage.
It kind of came off as him, but yeah, it's not.
I swear, I always thought that. That's like
Nicholas could play Pee Wee in a Pee Wee biopic.
he could. But I don't know if he should.
But this guy will give it 110.
He would, but again, I don't know if he should.
No, honestly, somebody I don't know who could play a good Pee Wee Herman in a biopic. Honestly, the way that I would say the way that Daniel Radcliffe did as Weird Al, he could probably do a great job as Pee Wee. He did an excellent job as Weird Al. He made me believe he was Weird Al Yankovic. So, but yeah,
I never saw that, but I mean, I'm sure there will be eventually a biopic of so many great comedians that are no longer here. Like, I still expect one from Robin Williams.
Richard. I still expect one from Richard Pryor.
Yeah, I mean, John Candy. I mean, you know, there's a lot. But
Belushi.
yeah, I mean, but Pee Wee would be one. But you take that's a character though. I mean, that's not really Paul Rubens. Biopic.
Yeah.
That's a. It would be about Pee Wee, I would think.
Yeah, it'll be
how
about his like towards the end of Pee Wee's Playhouse
Yeah,
and his in trouble and his redemption coming back from it.
yeah.
I would also say, like it'd be cool to see a Chris Farley biopic. That'd be really cool if you get a really good actor to play him. I can't think of one that off the top of my head. Don't forget to mention me in your previous. Boy, I just mentioned you just now. Preview of Big Top Pee Wee review. Also, how about the last iteration of Pee Wee Herman Show? Also, my pick to be Paul Rubens in a movie about him is Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory. Yeah, I can see that. Actually,
It looks like him, but can he perform? I've never.
But can he be Pee Wee? Can he
Yeah.
be Paul? Can he be Paul?
Or would it be like cosplay? You know, you don't want it to be like that. You want
Yeah.
someone to be the soul of Pee Wee Herman. I just.
You want them to disappear into
Yeah.
the row where you no longer see the actor. You see them like Denzel is Malcolm X. Like he turned into Malcolm X, and he was Malcolm. Like Angela Bassett is Tina Turner. You think about Robin Williams as I think he played FDR, or somebody in that one movie, the Butler. I forget who he played. He played the president, but he just disappeared into a role. I think Eisenhower maybe. But yeah, just I don't know. Just
Like Tom Hanks and Forrest Gump.
Tom Hanks. No, Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers. Like in the movie,
Oh, that was good too. That was great too.
totally stop being Tom Hanks and you just see Fred Rogers. Like totally, you didn't see him at all as Tom Hanks. Like that is great acting. Where you know Tom Hanks is a very successful actor, but he disappears in a role, and by the end of the movie, he is Fred freaking Rogers.
He was.
So yeah,
That's kind of why I give him and Denzel top tier actors of all time. I mean, I do not believe anyone else is better. And I'm talking about actors of all time. I just, and I love, what's his name? From, can't think of his name now. Can't even think of the movie. It's a Wonderful Life.
yeah.
Jimmy Stewart. I love Jimmy Stewart. I think as far as that era of Hollywood, he was the best. But I don't think he touches Denzel or Tom Hanks.
I think the only one that came close to touching them was Chadwick, in the sense of just Chadwick. He was able to disappear into a role and make you care about him as an actor.
I believe
Bridges. was excellent.
I believe Chadwick would have been the second coming of Denzel. I do. He had everything.
Yeah.
It's sad. It really is. But another guy that had it all was Heath Ledger. I mean, he literally could do it all, and he did for a short career.
Yeah, I think Heath Ledger was like he's another guy. That'd be a list that we could do one day. A list of actors that passed away that we felt was not that was hasn't really shown us everything that we could have seen. And I would actually argue and put Robin Williams on that list as well, because not because we've seen him in a lot, we've seen him play a lot, but I think Robin Williams was that type of guy that had so much more to present and show us. I just wish that he could have his mental health was stronger. Honestly, like I hate that we don't have him in this world. And and same with Heath Ledger, same with Chris Farley, same with like freaking John Candy. Like John would golden as imagine old John Candy as a grandpa in one of these movies or something. Would have been like a lovely thing to see. But,
you mentioned Farley. I mean, it would have been awesome to see him in Grown Ups instead of Kevin James. Nothing against Kevin. He was fine in the movie, but if Farley would have been there, that would have been his role, and he would have stole every scene imaginable. And it would have been much more entertaining.
Yeah, Farley,
see all of them together again.
Yeah, Farley had so many roles that was like scheduled for him that man, it's just tragic. Jim Stewart, last movie was the cartoon The American Tale 2, where he voiced Wiley Burke. I hadn't seen that movie in so long, man. I ain't seen that movie since I was a kid. American Tale. Finally, backpack there was a kid.
I don't know if I've seen the sequel. I think I saw the first one as a kid.
I remember the song somewhere out there beneath the clear blue sky. It's a great song. But yeah, all right, that's it for this podcast. And Brando, what we want the people to do?
Well, if you enjoyed this episode and want to see more like it, click that share button, comment like Matthew, and subscribe to the Mark Out Movie Podcast channel.
And Matthew is still commenting. Let's see. My favorite John Candy and Chris Farley movies are Cool Runnings and Tommy Boy. All right, so I'll answer that for you real quick. My favorite John Candy movie is probably Uncle Buck.
Me too.
Straight up his movie. That is my favorite his movie.
Or Summer Rental. But I always go back to Uncle Buck.
I remember Who's Harry Crumb as well. I loved it as a kid. But that's my favorite John Candy movie standalone. My favorite movie with John Candy in it would be Spaceballs. And then my favorite Chris Farley movie is Tommy Boy. My favorite movie with Chris Farley in it is Dirty Works. He's so great. Is the guy who has his nose bit off by Saigon whore, as he said.
I think though, for me, it's obviously Tommy Boy. Shark bad. Gotta stop it with that shark. But Farley as just like a secondary role or a cameo for me, it's always been Billy Madison as the bus driver. I love him in that. He stole everything in that movie, and I love it. God, I wish him and Sandler could have really done something together. Like
he would have been. He would have been perfect in Grown Ups in the Grown Ups.
Yes,
movie.
he would have.
And honestly, Kevin James was okay, but Kevin James wouldn't probably be as famous if it had not been for Chris Farley that came before him. Chris Farley would have been so much. Imagine them in that film together. Adam, Chris Rock, Chris Farley,
Rob Schneider,
David Spade. That would have been great.
It'd been the best SNL cast movie ever.
Really
I kind of think it still is, but Kevin James not SNL, so so maybe they should have went with maybe Mike Myers, but I know what he was doing. He was wanting a bigger guy.
Well, and then the people that he had in the movie was there was the people that that were within his class of
Yeah.
SNL too. So Mike Myers was in the class prior to him. He's in the class with Dana Carvey, with uh, that class, uh, and then underneath that class with Chris Rock and all them, and Adam Sandler would have been like the Will Ferrells and the Tina Feys and stuff like that. So from his class, I can't think of no one that would have really worked.
Yeah. And
With
I think Kevin was fine in the role. I really do. It's just Kevin James' comedy. It can't compare to Chris Farley's comedy.
no,
It's not the same. It's not the same energy. It's not the same jokes. It's not the same.
I'm gonna go ahead out on a limb and say also I read recently that Will Ferrell would be playing John Madden in the movie. That'd be kind of interesting. I like Will Ferrell, so but that so I would say that my favorite SNL cast would have been the cast that had Chris Farley and Adam,
Yeah.
and then that cast, and then the next cast I would say is the uh, Will Ferrell stuff. That cast, and then it'll be the Dana Carveys, and then it'll be the Eddie Murphys in the earlier stuff. So that would be my favorite SNL cast. I don't really care for the today's cast. I don't care. I'm not a Pete Davidson guy. I'm not a Pete
Like,
Davidson guy.
is he funny?
I
'Cause
don't
I
know.
haven't seen him in anything where he's funny. Like
He's
this is
annoying.
spoilers if you haven't seen it. Bodies, bodies, bodies. He kills himself accidentally. Now that was funny because the
And then
movie.
was it Suicide Squad? He dies. That was funny. But
So
yeah,
he dies funny, but is he funny?
but
I've
is
never
he-
seen his stuff on SNL, so I do not know.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know that cast. I'm not familiar with today's cast. I know Kenan Thompson's there, but
Yeah, I know him. I mean, he's
he's
fine.
he's not like honestly, I'm not huge on Kenan Thompson either. I loved him back with Cal Mitchell, Kenan and Cal. I thought they were
Good
great.
burger.
Yeah, Good Burger and stuff like that, and even all that. But then Mighty Ducks, he was great in that stuff too.
Wasn't he in Heavyweights as well?
He was in Heavyweights as well.
Thought so.
But
He's came a long way though.
then he was in Barbershop too. He was okay in that.
Oh yeah.
But just never been a huge like he had a show I think recently. Like
It
a
got
six-
canceled, I believe.
Yeah, like literally, I wouldn't watch it because it's why. I mean, I'm
I mean,
sorry.
it's nobody big is on that show like they
Yeah.
were. You know, like the Sandlers, the Will Ferrells, Mike Myers. You know, Eddie. The newer cast, they're not big. They're not big names, and because everyone that's gotten a show has gotten canceled in one season. But I think, except for Pete Davidson, I think he's got a show. But I haven't seen it. Like again, I just haven't seen it. I don't see much that he's in. All I know mainly from him is that he dated Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I know more about him. Is that he
And then
dated her.
he had a beef with Kanye West. What is
Well,
saying?
who doesn't have a beef with him these days?
What? Paul Rubens wanted to be in SNL, but he couldn't audition, so he created Pee Wee Show.
And it worked out better for him.
Yeah, yeah, and then also, like not everybody, like Andy, shoot, what's it?
Sandberg.
No.
Him.
I like him. I don't know his cast, but I like him as well. But no, I'm talking about your boy,
Kaufman.
Kaufman. Yeah, Andy Kaufman. He was in SNL, I think, but he got fired. Also, Damon Wayans was in SNL, but he got fired because he just wasn't he didn't want to do the role that they wanted him to give. But
See, I'm not.
because he went on to In Living Color, which is at that point was a better show.
I'm not the biggest Andy Kaufman fan. It was Jim Carrey for me. Is the reason I got interested and I kind of studied Andy Kaufman after that point. He was just a weird cat, man.
I'm not a big Andy Kaufman fan either. I don't find him funny. I don't
I
find
found
it.
his story engaging though.
Yeah.
Like what he would do. He, of course, his wrestling stuff with Jerry Lawler, I thought that was engaging, but I don't know, I didn't find his stuff all that funny, but I thought Jim Carrey was fantastic playing
Yeah.
him.
But I would say also, and this is why we're talking about this. This is after the podcast. Essentially, we're just talking about stuff. But which show would you say was better? Now I don't know if you ever seen In Living Color. I think you said you didn't, but Mad TV.
I've seen more Mad TV.
I would say between Mad TV, SNL, In Living Color, and Kids on the Block. Did you ever watch Kids on the
I
Block?
never seen Kids on the Block.
Okay, all
But
shows. But
what I watched, I did watch Mad TV. I actually liked it. I've seen clips of In Living Color. It looks fun. But I would have to say SNL when I watched, because that was during the Farley Sandler era when I really watched it. I loved it. I thought they were just great. And that's why I was looking forward to their solo careers, especially Farley and Sandler. I knew they were going to blow up.
yeah,
So,
I would say that I don't know, but I would agree. Just with SNL, it's dependent on the cast and the era that
yeah.
worked. But Mad TV, I thought the first 2 or 3 years, man, was really good. Especially with Orlando Jones. And is it Orlando Jones? Is that his
Yeah.
name? And then Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell? Not Will Ferrell. Not Will Ferrell. What's his name? Will Sasso.
Yeah.
Will Sasso. I remember the stuff with him and Bret Hart just on the show, and I remember watching it like, oh my gosh, is this like real? Like it was like I was such a mark for wrestling.
Yeah.
But
Andy always, for whatever reason, compares me to Will Sasso. I don't know why.
it kind of looked like elongated Nick Cage to me. But
I take that.
but all right, we're gonna go ahead and end this podcast, guys. We thank you for listening and watching, and even our little after talk about SNL and all things comedy. Next week, Matthew Carter's pick. We are doing Big Top Pee Wee. I will not sway from it. I will do this movie, and I will like it.
He will love it, Matthew. He's gonna love it.
I'm a rebel.
I almost went with the Brother Love voice, but
I heard it. SNL character is Mary Catherine Gallagher, played by Molly Shannon. Oh, so you like Superstar?
I like that movie too. But I like what was it? Will Ferrell and other dude, Night Roxbury.
That's that Will Ferrell cast.
Hey, I may change my pick.
You gotta do it, aren't you?
Is it still streaming?
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
I love you.
And with that, thank you for tuning in to Mark Out Movie Podcast. We appreciate you every single week. Brandon Spivey and Whitlow, thank you for marking out with us. He loves you.